Mahomes trying to stay onside there for a second through the first hit. The second one brings him down the yard.
This might be the most consequential missed tackle in the history of the NFL. No joke, no exaggeration, no hyperbole. This is the most consequential missed tackle to ever happen. This is the reason that Azeez Al-Shire, despite being fined seemingly every other game for doing something illegal, will win Walter Payton Man of the Year. Because this was the missed tackle that ended the Chiefs' reign of dominance. This was the missed tackle that, at the very least, put the Chiefs' dynasty on pause. It didn't have to be this way, obviously. How could a missed tackle have this much importance? It's still 4th down in a tie game either way. Make the tackle, and it's 4th and 7, and you're punting. Miss the tackle, and Patrick Mahomes is still 1 yard shy of the sticks, and you're punting in your own territory. What's the big deal? Well,
we're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
Oh, my tonsils are tickled, Andy. My tonsils have never been more tickled in my life. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling the tickling in your tonsils? Because I sure am. I sure freaking am. After what you're about to do.
4th and 1, and they're going to go to 10-10 game. Anderson almost got there. Pass is incomplete.
You actually went for it. You freaking went for it in your own territory in a tie game, in a defensive slugfest, and you threw the ball. I'm at a loss. I'm genuinely at a loss. I'm sure this won't come back to bite you guys in any way whatsoever. I'm sure taking this chance near your own 30-yard line won't be costly and give the Texans good scoring position for no reason at all.
He's got it here. Dari Ogunbowale to the goal line. He's in for the touchdown.
I'm not surprised in the slightest bit. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of a Kansas City Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid. How poetic is this? How freaking poetic is this? You could argue that the Chiefs dynasty started off of a dumb decision at Arrowhead in a game involving the Texans. Houston led the 2019 divisional round by a score of 24-0 before head coach Bill O'Brien decided, for some reason, in one of the dumbest decisions in NFL history, to run a fake punt in his own territory. This was widely considered to be a bad move, and the Chiefs not only stopped the fake punt with ease and got momentum out of it, but they scored a touchdown off the fake and won the game 51-31 before winning Super Bowl 54 and seemingly playing in the big game every year and ruining many people's lives and enjoyment of the sport. And now, the Chiefs are all but eliminated from the playoffs on a dumb decision in a game at Arrowhead against the Houston Texans. It comes full circle. Andy Reid has improved a lot over the years as an in-game manager, especially compared to his time in Philadelphia, where he was taking his sweet time on drives that needed to have urgency, and my personal favorite, this game in 1999, where he called for a field goal and completely forgot to send his kicker out onto the field.
Play fake, Peterson throwing to Turner, he's hit, knocked down at the 10-yard line. Now they've got to get the field goal kicking unit out. 9 seconds, 8. Can they get it off? Peterson is set. Where's the kicker? Johnson's coming out. They may not get this off. 1 second, they got it down. The kick is up, and it is no good. No good.
You can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. But this might take the cake. Considering the circumstances and just how insane it was, this might take the cake. So with that being said, let's take a look at why going for it on 4th and 1 and throwing the ball in a tie game in your own territory with 10 minutes to go is a really bad idea. And I need to emphasize that this decision does not take place in a vacuum. There were times where I have no problem going for on 4th and 1 in a tie game at this exact same yard line. If this was a game where it's a shootout and your offense is clicking, but the other offense is also clicking and they're moving down the field with ease, that's an entirely different story. So if you're going for your own 31-yard line on 4th and 1, it is not automatically always a dumb decision. But here, this was a complete lack of understanding for the flow of the game. Your defense have been playing incredibly well. How well? You're seeing it right now. The Texans' offense had done quite literally nothing all half. If you were watching this game on your couch, you were about as productive as the Texans were during the second half offensively. After the halftime break, Houston had 5 drives. On those 5 drives, the Texans got a grand total of 1 first down. As you can see from these highlights, it's not hard to see why Houston was struggling. On those 5 drives, the Texans picked up a grand total of 17 yards of offense. That is 3 yards per drive, or thereabout. They called 18 plays and got 17 yards. You don't need to be a mathematician to know that this comes out to less than a yard per play. And you don't need to know anything about the sport to know that this sounds really bad. And that's because it is. On 3 of those 5 drives, the Texans failed to get a single yard. The Texans ran the ball 7 times on those 5 drives and picked up 6 yards. The Texans threw the ball 11 times, and on those 11 dropbacks, C.J. Stroud not only missed his first 7 passes, but went 2 for 9 with 13 net passing yards. If you include the end of the first half, on C.J. Stroud's last 12 dropbacks, he went 2 for 10 with 8 net passing yards, averaging less than 1 net yard per dropback and having as many completions as he had sacks. This was not a situation by any means where you cannot stop the Texans from moving the ball down the field, and punting only delays the inevitable, and the Texans get the ball, go on a 7-minute drive, churn a ton of clock, and take the lead. The Texans had no answers offensively. And here you are, just giving them the ball in literal field goal range if you don't get the first down, and giving them a chance to win the game, at the very least take the lead, by doing nothing. I know it's hard to deal in hypotheticals because so much can change in this sport, but let's realistically think about it with the sample size we have. Let's say you punt the ball away at your own 31-yard line. Odds are Matt Araiza will punt it about 45 yards, and the Texans are starting their drive at their own 24-yard line. Do you honestly think that the Houston Texans, who have gotten 17 yards in their last 5 drives combined and are averaging less than a yard per play this half, who have gotten 19 yards in their last 6 drives combined on an average of 0.7 yards per play, and who have gotten 34 yards in their last 7 drives combined on an average of 1.1 yards per play, will drive all the way down the field and put themselves in a spot to get 3 points and take the lead? No! There's no chance that happens. Maybe not no chance, but the odds are not on their side. This is a defensive slugfest, and you're taking it to them. And now, you're literally going to give them the ball in field goal range if this fails? For no reason? Let's think about this. Let's actually think about this for a second. You should not be throwing the ball when you have not thrown the ball well at all today, when you've been pressured on most plays, because the Texans possess the best 1-2 punch on the defensive line in Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and when your quarterback, on his last 5 passes, including a few on this drive, mind you, is 0 for 5 and has also thrown a pair of interceptions on the day. This is a low percentage play to pick up one singular yard. Throwing is not wise here. However, I'll tickle my tonsils and entertain this. I will do that for you, Andy Reid. I will tickle my tonsils just for you and just go with this. Let's say you get the first down here. By some act of God, you get the first down. Congratulations. You still need to go about 30 yards to get into field goal range. So even if you get this, you need to go a long way to take the lead. Meanwhile, if you don't get this low percentage play against the literal #1 defense in football and a defense that has been on your butts the entire night, you're literally giving the Texans the ball in field goal range without them having to do anything. So long as the Texans don't lose 7 or 8 yards, you allow Fairbairn, one of the best kickers in football, and a man with a pretty strong leg, to kick something well within his range. This is Luigi winning by doing nothing. This is very similar to the Cowboys-Eagles debacle in 1995, which you learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Why give your opponent momentum and field position for no reason whatsoever when they can't do anything themselves? This decision completely went against the flow of the game, and it cost the Chiefs big time here. And then, if that wasn't enough, Andy Reid decided to do it again.
Wants to run. 4th and 4. Mahomes stepping up, going middle, Rice dropped it.
Yeah, it went about as well as you expect. Again, the Texans had done nothing offensively all half, and basically all day, since the touchdown drive that put them ahead 10-0. They were averaging about a yard per play, if not less than that. They show no signs of life, and you rejuvenated them for no reason. And by failing on this 4th down, which was a longer distance, and you still had plenty of time, and all your timeouts, well, actually, 2 timeouts because you burned one to talk about that play for some reason, you gave the Texans the ball in field goal range to make it a 2-score game. They couldn't move the ball offensively, and they actually went backwards, so you actually kept it at a 1-score game, but still, it was stupid. This felt like a complete and utter panic move. There's no other way to say it. This was a panic move from a normally composed coach, hence why the Chiefs won the Super Bowl all those years ago, despite trailing by double digits in all 3 of their playoff games. And from a coach that is easily bound for the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, he panicked. Plain and simple, he panicked. And I'll let him explain why he decided to do it, because he was asked about it during the post-game press conference.
I put the guys offensively in a tough position with the 4th downs, trying to stay aggressive with it. I take full responsibility for that. And there are opportunities that you've got to take advantage of. You're playing a good football team in the Texans, and you've got to make sure when you have opportunities to make plays, you make plays. And we were short just a little bit there. But, yeah, so I thought we could get it. That was the decision. I was confident we could do that. So it's important that you take advantage of opportunities. I thought it was an opportunity. I was wrong, no. I mean, hindsight, it was wrong. We've been pretty good on 4th downs.
At least he's holding himself accountable and taking responsibility. But I also love when coaches say things like, I thought it would work. No crap you thought it would work. I'd hope you think it would work. I'd hate to have a coach who called stuff that he knew wouldn't work. If he didn't think it would have worked, no exaggeration, you fire him on the spot. I'd hate to have to play for a guy and put my body on the line for a guy who's just winging it and is unsure whether things will work. Either way, whether you thought it was going to work or didn't think it was going to work, the bottom line is that in this results-based industry, it didn't work. It didn't even come close. Needing 1 yard instead of running the ball, you called the pass when the last 5 were unsuccessful. And you call this low percentage play in a tie game deep in your own territory where the opponent would get the ball in the field goal range and take the lead in the absolute best case scenario on a night where the opponent hadn't been able to move the ball at all this entire half. When you break it down like that, this truly is one of the dumbest decisions of the entire season. And if this is how the Chiefs dynasty ends, and if this is truly how their season ends, barring a miracle, it ends with Andy Reid, the normally reliable coach, and one of the greatest to ever do it, panicking out of nowhere. This was a panic move. This was a losing move, and this was potentially a dynasty-ending move. So what do we learn from all of this? If your defense is stuffing the opposing team on every drive, and you're winning the field position battle as a result of it, then don't put your defense in a spot where they're playing from behind the 8-ball with no wiggle room and with a deficit all but guaranteed. If you need 1 yard, then calling a low percentage play that goes against the flow of the game and does not play to your strengths is not the best idea, especially when just falling forward is always an option. If the risk of a play greatly outweighs the reward, and if you decide that you're willing to trust an offense that's been struggling and can't move the ball down the field, while also not trusting a defense that's been dominating and allowing less than a yard per play over the course of an entire half, has allowed 0.2 first downs per drive to start off the half, then you need to reevaluate your priorities. And if you're desperate in a tie game with 10 minutes to go, then you need to rethink everything about how you coach a game. This might be the end of an era. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.